Learning to value yourself. You guys know I've had this conversation on many cases, but I had a young lady I was talking with the other day that I picked up on the ride share. Um, it was her and a gentleman. He ordered the ride for her to get a ride home. And so as we're about to pull off, he turns around and he runs back to the car. He's waving us down. And so the young lady was like, oh, he has something to say. I was like, okay, well, I rolled down the window. Like, what's up, man? He's like, oh, which direction are you going? He's like, hey, could you drop me off, at the bar? He says, past the freeway, but could you drop me off over there? And I'm like, no problem. We can do that. And so anyway, the girl, once he got in the car, she was telling him, she's like, why don't you put it on your phone so, he doesn't get thrown off on the map and that, it shows up as a two ride. So he was working on that to try to get that done. He didn't get it done. By the time he was figuring it all out, we were already at the bar, dropped him off. Okay. But bottom line, we drop him off. As soon as we're pulling off, she said, yeah, he has a couple of red flags. And she said, this was actually a date we just left. And I'm sitting there with my mouth open. I'm like, yeah, he just gave you a red flag. I'm like, how in the world you and him just come off a date and he's being dropped at the bar? What does that say? And she's like, yeah, he could have played it off, and got another ride or something like that. I'm like, yeah, or at least get dropped off somewhere different from the bar, around the corner or something, and then walk to the bar. But I'm just sitting there shaking my head. I'm like, wow. And then she told me that this was her second date. And I think on the first date, they must have been out to about 3, because she said about 3 o'clock in the morning, his ex texted him, and he was responding to her text in front of her. And I'm sitting here like, he's taking messages from his ex, and I'm like, I'm just thinking to myself, how many red flags do you need? I'm like, and I asked her, I said, why are you dating him? And she said, yeah, I can't believe her, huh? You talking about the girl sitting there texting? I said, no, 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 no. Why are you dating him? He's giving you these red flags galore. And it's just, I'm just sit there and I'm just shaking my head. I'm just like, but then as she talked a little more, I understood why. He had no respect for her. Now, she says they hadn't had sex before or something like that, but which, most people are going to think if they were out to 3 o'clock on the first appointment, then maybe it was one of those on the first night. But she claims that didn't happen. She said, but she told him, well, I'm open to that thing, like sex. It's like she was acting like she was nervous with me or whatever. But then she finally came out and said it was sex. She said, but guys, she said, in the past when I've had it, we broke up and I felt like I didn't get anything out of it. I lost. And she said, so I told him, and I tell guys, she said, I don't mind having sex. She said, but you're going to need to take me shopping or buy me diamond earrings or something. And I'm just sitting here like, that's why he doesn't respect you. You told him you're for sale. Now, I didn't tell her that, but that was my first thought process. But I did tell her. I said, if any woman had made that comment to me, what you just said, it would be the last conversation her and I ever had. And I said, because the fact is, I'm not buying you. This is not a swap. And ladies, this is what I'm saying. Learn to value yourself a little bit more. She was claiming that she likes sex. So if you're having sex, you are getting something out of it. This world that we keep teaching, where we keep making it sound like it's just a woman. You guys have been around me long enough. I don't have those conversations. Just like people used to tell me I was so lucky to have my wife. And I agree totally. I said, she's awesome. She definitely was intended for me. Great. But she's also fortunate too, because she got me. See, I'm never going to sell out the way these people are teaching guys, like she's the gift, she's the prize, like you're nothing. I had a young lady tell me that one day. She's like, well, about going out on the first date and him taking her to a nice restaurant, and she was saying, well, he's paying for my presence. Paying for your presence? What? What about his time? What about his? You makes it sound like his presence has no significance. This is all about you. He don't know you. He don't know if you somebody he want to date with a second time. Your perception of your value may not even be close to his perception. Why in the world does he have to spend money on you the first date? Getting ladies to understand this, quit listening to the social media trying to teach you how to stay single. When you start out here putting these things, because I'm going to tell you now, I'm one of those guys, I ain't about to spend that much money on you. If we go anywhere, we may go to a coffee shop. We may just go to the park. We may go to the museum. We may go do something that don't cost no money. Why? The first date is to see if there's going to be a second date. It's to get to know each other. I don't owe you anything, just like you don't owe me anything. That same woman, like the one that we're just talking about, you want him to buy you diamond earrings. Really? You want him to take you to a nice restaurant. Really? You believe you're owed that. And then if he tells you, well, you owe me for the night, this is the first time we went out. I just spent $200-300 on you for dinner. What you giving in return? Oh, no, you paid for my presence. You better get over yourself. Too much social media is teaching that. The reality is the purpose in the first date is to get to know the person, to see if there's going to be a second date. As we start to build this relationship, how are you going to ask the man to pay you or pay for your bills and all this kind of stuff? Guys, you better quit doing this stuff. Woman telling you I can't pay my rent, I can't pay this and that, and you went out with her once, you don't owe that. Yes, I'm empathetic to her situation. But you got to understand there are women out here that are actually manipulating and using guys. I get them in the car all the time. They'll tell me, oh, I know how to get money out of men. You got to understand the games that are being played out here. You don't owe her nothing. You're not in a relationship with her. Ladies, you got to understand he's not in a relationship with you. He don't owe you anything. Those benefits that you're asking for are for the woman he's in a relationship with. If you're not in a relationship with him, you can't be asking for relationship benefits. I hope you guys got that. And I feel for the young lady because she doesn't understand what she just said. She basically said her body is for sale. And it helped me understand why the guy had no respect, which you should never dishonor, disrespect, regardless, I believe. I would have never done what he did. But the key is, but what she did let him know that, because I know that he could have met someone that night at the bar, slept with her, told her that he met the woman at the bar and slept with her, and said, but you know what? I want to take you shopping. Guarantee you she would go with him. Why? Because she's for purchase. That's when you're telling the guy that he doesn't have to honor and respect you. Why? Because you don't honor and respect yourself. I've said it before, ladies. Whatever you think is valuable, cars, jewelry, whatever it is you think is valuable, you're more valuable. Learn to treat yourself that way. Quit letting material things purchase you. You got to understand you're worth more than that. Quit, again, you guys have heard me talk about the 90-day rule that Steve Harvey made pretty popular. And like I said before, the only thing I agree with the 90-day rule, quit going to bed so easy. I totally agree with that. But the 90-day rule is just like all this other stuff we're talking about. I said, you are your most valuable asset. Why would you put your body on a calendar? And I know he says on day 90, get dressed up, tonight's the night. Why? Your body is not a negotiating tool. You got to learn that. Learn to value you. You're not a negotiating tool. Quit acting like you're a negotiating tool. If you decide you don't want to have sex until marriage, it's when you should hold out for it. If he wants to walk, wave goodbye. I know Steve talked about after day 90, you're messing with fire. There ain't no fire. Ain't no fire there unless you let it be fire. If he want to walk, let him walk. You got to have value for you, and you don't let someone else's perspective change that. Again, quit selling your body so easy. Learn to love the person you're in the mirror, because I truly believe the more that you give away the body, the less value you actually have for yourself. I know a lot of you believe that's not true, but when you learn, and I hear guys, I get in the car and it's amazing to me to hear guys say it, that there are guys that will open up to me and tell me they're not having sex, but they say their life changed the moment they got sex out of the picture and they stopped going to bed with women. They said they took so much power over their life, and it started to allow them to make different decisions and get themselves in certain categories. Like one gentleman was talking about how his ex keeps trying to get him to come in the house. He's like, no, I'm good. Before he got to that level, he'd have went in. But now he's like, no, I'm good. I'm working on me. You guys follow me? Learn to value you. Get you together first. Then you can attract the quality of person that you say that you want. Because you guys have heard me say before, you attract based on your thought process. If you don't like who's showing up, look in the mirror and make the adjustments there, because that's the reason that these people continue to show up. And I shouldn't say why they show up, because they're always going to show up. But why you entertain them when they do show up is because of the way that you feel about yourself. Learn to value yourself. Quit making yourself a negotiating tool, which she does, because you instantly send the message that you don't value you, and why in the world do you think I should? And as you guys know, and you should, again, let me throw that in there real quick before I end here, because I'm saying you should respect all people don't misinterpret. I'm never going to be one that's going to ever disrespect a woman. I was never raised that way, and I never will. I'm just saying, but you give the perception that you don't respect you, so you're not asking for it in return. So as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Make sure you're out here enjoying life, because as you know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. I'll talk to you guys again next Monday. Take care.